Someone is in your house right now. You do not know it yet, but they have been there for weeks, learning your schedule, watching your routines, waiting for the right moment. How do I know? Because it happened to 3 real people, and by the end of this video, you are going to double-check every lock in your home. Guaranteed. Welcome back to True Scare Tales. If you are new here, this channel is dedicated to real horror, not movies, not fiction, not made-up campfire stories. These are accounts from real people who experienced things that changed them forever. And tonight, we have 3 of the most disturbing true stories we have ever covered. Before we get into it, hit that like button right now and subscribe so you never miss a new episode. We post every week and these stories only get darker. Now let us get into it, because story number 1 alone is going to make your skin crawl. Our first story comes from a woman named Sandra, who lived alone in an apartment in Seattle, Washington. Sandra was a nurse who worked night shifts, which meant she slept during the day and left for work around 10 p.m. She had lived in her apartment for about 2 years and felt completely safe there. It was a decent building, secure entry, good neighbors. She had no reason to be afraid. It started with small things. She would come home from a night shift and notice that a chair had moved. Just slightly. Not dramatically, just a few inches from where she always kept it. She told herself she had bumped it on her way out. Then her toothbrush was wet when she came home, but she had not used it before leaving. She told herself she was misremembering. Then one morning she came home and found a coffee mug in the drying rack next to the sink. She lived alone. She had not used that mug in days, but someone had washed it and left it there to dry. That was when Sandra stopped telling herself she was imagining things. She bought a small hidden camera, the kind people use as nanny cams, and placed it in her living room before leaving for work that night. She came home the next morning, hands shaking, and pulled up the footage. For the first 2 hours, nothing happened. Then at around 1 a.m., the footage showed her closet door slowly opening. A man stepped out. He was wearing dark clothing. He walked calmly to her kitchen, made himself something to eat, sat at her table, and ate in the dark. Then he walked back to the closet and closed the door behind him. He had been living in her closet for weeks, using her food, her bathroom, her belongings, while she slept in the next room, completely unaware. Police were called. The man was found still inside the closet when they arrived. He had been watching her for over a month. He knew her schedule perfectly. He had timed everything down to the minute. Sandra never went back to that apartment. She says to this day she cannot open a closet without feeling her chest tighten. And honestly, after hearing this, can you blame her? Our second story comes from a man named Trevor, who was driving alone on a highway in rural Tennessee late one night. Trevor was on a long road trip, moving to a new city, and had decided to push through the night to save time. It was around 2 a.m. The highway was completely empty. No other cars, no streetlights, just Trevor and his headlights cutting through the dark. He noticed a woman standing on the side of the road. She was not waving or signaling for help. She was just standing there, perfectly still, facing the road. Trevor slowed down. Something felt wrong. He could not explain it, just a gut feeling. He kept driving. A few miles later, he saw her again. Same woman, same white jacket, standing just off the shoulder of the road, perfectly still. Trevor's stomach dropped. He had not passed any exits. There were no side roads. There was no possible way she could have gotten ahead of him. He drove faster. His hands were gripping the wheel so hard his knuckles went white. And then, his engine sputtered. His car slowed down. He was running out of gas. He had forgotten to fill up before leaving the last town. He managed to coast to a stop on the shoulder. He sat there in the dark, engine dead, no cell signal, completely alone. He did not get out of the car. He sat there for almost 2 hours, watching his mirrors, watching the road ahead, watching the darkness. Nothing appeared. No woman. No movement. Eventually another driver stopped to help him, and they got his car going again. Trevor pulled away from that spot as fast as he could. He says he has never been able to explain what he saw that night. 2 sightings, miles apart, No logical explanation. He does not drive alone at night anymore. He says whatever was standing on that road, it wanted him to stop. And something in him knew that if he had, he never would have driven away. Our third story is the one that genuinely keeps us up at night here at True Scare Tales, and we think it might do the same to you. This one comes from a man named James, who grew up in a small town in rural Georgia. James was in his mid-30s when he decided to renovate the old family home he had inherited after his parents passed. He had not been back to the house in years. He planned to fix it up and sell it. On the first night of renovation, James was going through old boxes in the attic when he found a journal. It was not his parents' handwriting. He did not recognize it at all. The journal had no name on the cover. He opened it and started reading. The entries were dated, going back almost 4 years. Whoever had written it had been living in the house. Not visiting, living there. The entries described his parents in detail. Their routines, their arguments, their schedules, what they ate, when they slept, when they cried, everything. The writer had been watching them through small gaps in the attic floorboards for years, observing their entire lives without them ever knowing. James kept reading, heart hammering in his chest, hands shaking. The last entry in the journal was dated just 3 weeks before his mother had died of what doctors called a heart attack in her sleep. The entry was short. It said only, "Tonight is the night. She will not suffer. Neither will he. I am tired of waiting." His father had passed just 2 months after his mother. Also in his sleep. Also ruled natural causes. They had been in their 70s. Everyone assumed it was just their time. James called the police that same night. An investigation was opened. The attic showed signs of long-term habitation. A sleeping area, stored food, a system of small peepholes drilled through the floor. Someone had been living up there, completely hidden, for years. The journal was taken as evidence. Whether James's parents died of natural causes or something else, that investigation is still open. James sold the house without ever finishing the renovation. He says he has not slept more than a few hours at a stretch since that night in the attic. And he says the worst part is not what he found. The worst part is knowing his parents spent their final years being watched and never felt safe enough to know why they sometimes felt uneasy in their own home. There are things in this world that do not announce themselves. They do not knock on your door or show their face. They slip into the spaces you are not watching. The closet you never check. The attic you ignore. The shoulder of a dark, empty road. And by the time you notice something is wrong, it has already been wrong for a long time. That is what True Scare Tales is here for. To tell the stories that people are afraid to say out loud. To remind you that real horror does not need a monster. Sometimes all it needs is a door you forgot to lock. If these stories got under your skin, and we are pretty sure at least one of them did, drop a comment below and tell us which story disturbed you the most. We genuinely want to know. And if you have your own experience, something you saw, something you heard, something you cannot explain, share it in the comments. Your story could be featured in our next episode. Share this video with someone tonight, right now, because some things are just better to be scared about together. Stay safe, stay aware, and we will see you in the next one. Sleep well, if you can.